Hey crafters, it's me, Jen Evers with Quality Crafts, and welcome to Friday. I used to totally look forward to Fridays, and now that I'm out for the summer, every day is a Friday. And I'm sure at some point next year, I'm gonna feel like I need a Friday. So let's get going on what we're gonna make today. It's the flip flap window card tutorial. And the reason why is because there's a big window in it and it flips and flaps. So I'm going to show you on this one. If you follow me, you've probably already seen this one. So you can put stuff on the back. You can put a little paper here and put a little sentiment. You could put something on the back if you like, and it'll stand up for them. So you can stand it up wherever they're at. This is the one I did not show you. This was the teaser. I knew I had another one. And I'm going to show you why it's so important to make this part of it really, really sturdy. Because this one's not as sturdy, but watch what this one does. And I didn't put on the extra little pulls and hold tabs and stuff like that. But I'm going to show you that you can do that. So when you flip this one, it has laugh, dream, and love on the other side. So let me try that again. So it goes up and down instead of back and forth like this one. And this one is much more sturdy. So this one, what I did was 2 layers of 110-pound card, and then I just put an extra layer of whatever color it was that I wanted on top. And so here are all my cheat sheets. So you can zoom in, you can pause and take notes, you can write your own notes, whatever you need to do. And we're just going to start out with white paper. And just the reason for that is because then we could add the color on top. But I want to make sure that top flap piece, this part that's going to move, and it's the window part, is strong enough. And right now, this one is kind of flimsy. So we're going to combat that by using 110-pound cardstock. And my first note says that the pieces need to be 7 7/8 inch by 4 3/4. So I'm going to cut this down to 7 7/8. And I'm just going to cut off that last little piece there. Can't see the upper left and right hand sticky notes. You guys should be able to see all of those. I've got them all in my window. Plus I'll be going over them. So go ahead right now while my hand is not in the frame and take a picture and pause it. Okay. Now if you don't know what the eighths are on this, if you have this type of a cutter, there's little marks here in between, like there's 7 and there's 8. There's 8 little marks. All you're going to do is count them up to 7. If you hit 8, you've hit the next inch, so that's too far. 7 7/8. All right? And then 4 3/4. So we're going to go ahead and cut at 4 3/4. And we're going to do that twice so that we've got 2 of these. I usually cut on my big cutter because it's a lot more accurate, I feel. But let me just make sure these line up. They do. Okay, and now that we have these 2, okay, technically they're telling you to make 2 pieces because one would be the bottom and one would be the top. Now I'm telling you to make one for the bottom and one for the top, but the top needs extra. So this is going to be your bottom. You're going to save 1. This is going to be your top. You need another top. So we're going to cut this again. All right? So 7 7/8. And I'm not always going to leave these all in frame. They'll probably, I may have to pick them up and move them. We'll see how it goes. And then 4 3/4. Okay, make sure those line up. See, and they don't. They're off slightly. I'm going to go ahead and cut that little extra off. It's just this tiny little bit. I don't know why. So now let's put them together. If you're off by a tiny bit too, don't worry. You can always cut it off at the very end too. I just, for the video's sake, want to make sure that I'm as close as I can be. So now I've got 2, and I've got 1 for the base. And then we want 1 more this exact same size. That's whatever color you want yours to be. This base should be the same color if you want to show from behind. So let's say I have the purple one here, and I want my purples to match. When I open this up, there's purple in the background. You see? So these 2 are going to make the top one. And then this one's going to be the bottom one. If you don't want yours to be white, then find the color that you want and make 2 more this same size. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and make mine this tannish color so that it's it doesn't matter how what I design it with. It'll pretty much go with everything. So the first thing we're going to do is cut off that. We're going to go to 7 7/8. So that's almost 8 inches. And we're going to cut off that little piece at the end. And I always save these just in case I want to use it for decoration later. Then I turn it on its side and do 4 3/4 twice. So there's 4 3/4. Now I'm going to do 1 more. 4 3/4. And save this piece just in case you want it for decorating later. Okay. So this is technically the hardest part. So now we've got 1 of these and 1 of the colored ones. That's going to be our base. Now we've got 2 that we're going to glue together with the colored one, and that's going to be our top. This one we're going to cut the rectangle in. This one we're going to leave as is. Now I'm going to go ahead and save time by spraying mine in my garbage can and putting them together with this awesome stuff, which they no longer make. You can still get some on eBay, but it's really hard to find. So use whatever adhesive spray you have. And you don't have to use adhesive spray. I just really, really love this stuff. So you can use your ATG gun or your tear and tape or whatever. So this is my bottom piece. I only have to do 1. I'm going to line it up at the bottom first, so it looks straight. And then I'm going to go up to the top and just push the whole thing together. That's my bottom piece. And that's ready to go. Done deal. Now my top piece we're going to have to cut. But I'm going to put all 3 of mine together and then cut. And the reason being so that I get 1 cut and I don't have to try to move around and try to like even up all the windows. Would just be too much work. So I'm going to spray this one and I'm going to start putting these together. So here's my first one. So like I said, two pieces of 110-pound cardstock. And I just think that this is probably the best way to go so that you get a really nice firm top piece so that it all goes together well. And then I'm going to go ahead and spray glue this one. And then we're going to put this one on top of there. Do you see now where I've got a little extra lid here? That's okay. Don't worry about that right now. I'm going to put that towards the back. And that way if I need to, if it truly is too big, I can cut it off later. I'm just making darn sure I have at least one edge cut together perfectly straight. And I'm just going to rub them together. Alright, so do you see that I have this extra white gap on the other side? I'm just going to go ahead and cut that off right now. I'm going to go with the size that the colored piece was. And hopefully that should all turn out just fine. So now we've got this super thick and firm piece for the top, which should end up really nice. And then we've got this one for the bottom, which is fine because the pieces are going to adhere to the bottom. They're going to make it a lot sturdier. Alrighty. So at this point, I just want to double check in with you guys. Like, is this clear? Have you gotten it? All we've done is cut 3, 4. Sorry, we did do 2 on the bottom. 2 on the bottom and 3 on the top. So we did actually 5 pieces of 7 7/8 by 4 3/4. All right, I'm going to move that piece out of the way. I was hoping that that would not move, but it did just a little bit. Okay. So far, so good. All right, put your base aside and keep out the one that's going to be in the front. Okay. So now we're going to do, there's 2 ways to do this. You can score these at 5/8 of an inch. Okay. 5/8 of an inch is what we're going to score. We're doing this part right here. Or you can put it right into your trimmer at 5/8 of an inch and do the trim right away. I personally think the trimming is a lot more time consuming, but if you're going to go, and because this is so thick, it's going to be kind of hard to find that groove and be perfect about it. But if you really want to do it this way, because I don't want that crisscross line to show in mine, so I would do it from the underneath side. I'll show you what I mean. So we're just going to count a couple of lines. So if you don't know what 5/8 look like, it's 1 line past the 1/2 inch mark. But if there's a lot of lines in here, then that means you have 16 lines. And so you're going to have to count 10 lines. But I only have 8, so I'm going to count 5 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The little one just past the 1/2. That's where we're going to do it. So you're going to do it from there all the way across. See, I can't feel that groove all the way across on mine. So, because I made it too thick. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use my cutter. You can even see that coming through a little bit. Trust me, if you have a cutter, this is going to be so much easier for you. All right, we're going 5/8 inch in. So that's that 1 line just past the 1 inch. And then we're going to set this one at exactly 5/8 inch, which is that 1 line past the inch. Because it not only does it have right here, okay, there's the 1/2 inch. We're going to this mark right here. But it also has it on top of here. So all you're going to do for your cutting is you're going to move this down. Do you see the 1 inch right there? Okay, so we're going to go to the 1/2 inch. There's the 1/2 right there. We're going to go 1 mark past it. That's where we're going to put our cutter. So we're at 5/8 from one end and 5/8 from the other end. That might be a bit confusing, but I hope that you guys will get it. So I'm going to move it back to 5/8. I move this back to 5/8. I'm actually going to plop that down first. Then I'm going to find my 5/8. So I'm going to push it down, and I'm going to count 5 from the end here as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 2 marks just before the 7. So I'm going to go from there. I'm going to slide mine down 2 marks just before the center, and I'm going to slide it up 1 more time until I hit that 5/8 and stop. You should have a little slit. And if it didn't go all the way through, because I have a lot here, go ahead and take your cutter, your X-Acto knife, and just find your line, okay, and cut it all the way through. So you should have 1 slit right here. And we're going to go all the way around, do the same exact thing. All right? If it's easier for you to put it this way, check out what line you're on back here. Okay, let's say I have it on this the cutting line, and I'm going to go up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I would know that that's 5. And you can even eyeball, so say, I think it's going to be more like right there. I'm going to put it on the 5/8. And then I'm going to go to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1 just before the 4. And that's far enough. That's as far as I need to go. I'm going to go back a couple of times, push real hard, see if I can get that to go all the way through that time. And I did. I just had to push a little bit harder. Then the same thing with this side. Figure out where you are and then go in. 1, 2, 3. Now mine cuts off there, so I'm going to go backwards and do the 1/2 inch and then one more mark past the 1/2 inch. Just to make darn sure that I have this right. Go ahead and put that down. Start at my 5/8 point at the top and then slide down to my 5/8 point. Now I have a marking here already, so I'm going to make sure that that is lined up with my eyeball at the right spot. Keeps twisting on me. I'm going to hold it until I get it to the spot that I want. There we go. 5/8 right there, and I should hit that spot on the end. And then make sure you go over it a couple of times, push really hard. That one didn't go all the way through, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut that one. Now, like I said, if you feel confident and you just want to go ahead and cut those squares before gluing these all together, you go right ahead. And then there's just that one last one. I'm going to eyeball this one. You can count your 5/8, but I'm going to put my 2 lines right on the cutting line, and I'm going to line up my arrows. And then I'm going to go back and forth a couple of times. Now, if you get a point like this where it's not exactly met up, then use your tiniest little snips and just make a little snip there. That's it. That's all you got to do. And then the corners should pop out. If you want to snip the corner, each corner you can, but they should pop out okay. And then you have your frame. And I would keep this later on in case you want to use this nice piece of colored stuff or maybe adding something to it and whatnot. I also want to show you one thing too in case you missed it while you were doing that part. Or in case this isn't something that you've noticed before. I'm really bad about touching that camera. Yeah, I can fix that. Just move us over. Okay. Alright, so far so good. I'm sweating. I'm going to have to go down to my tank top. Sorry guys, it's like 80 or 90 out today, which means it's even a little warm down here, especially when I'm concentrating. So here's the thing that I wanted to show you as I was doing my 5/8. You're probably like, what in the world are you talking about? Let me put this in here so we can see it better. Okay. You see right here where here are the 1/8 going up to 1 inch. So you probably understand where I counted the 5/8 of 1 inch up to this little mark right here. But you might have been wondering how I got the other one when I wasn't counting. Here I'm going to take and line this up to 5/8. Do you see the little arrow right here on the end of this orange? It lines up with 5/8. Okay, and then I slid it down. That's how I knew that this was at 5/8 without having to count it. So this little arrow points on this ruler right here where you are on that piece of paper so that I don't cut all the way to the end. I just hope that that little piece of information might help somebody, because that was great news when I figured that out. All right. we are ready to rock and roll with our top and bottom piece. Okay? Next thing we're going to do, I'm going to move this over. We've done that. Stack the two and trace the window. So this is where you should decide which is top and which is bottom. Okay? Decide how you're going to stack them. And then lightly with pencil so you can erase it later, which I'm not going to do at all. I'm just going to use a scorer so that I can see it, but I don't have to erase it. I'm just going to go ahead and score a light line on each one of these. The reason being is that this is going to help us line up the flip flaps. I did a pretty cruddy job on the top of mine, so I'm just going to go ahead and do it one more time. So I think I missed the end. There we go. So you should be able to see on mine where I've got that light mark. If you want a pencil mark, you go ahead and do that. The pencil, it's not blurry on my end. Alright, so we have that trace. I'm going to move that one over. Next thing we're going to do is create our 3 flaps. And now I'm going to just do these white because they're going to be covered up by our pretty paper. So our 3 flaps are 4 3/4 inches by 2 7/8. If anybody else thinks that it's blurry, let us know, because Arrow Mama says she thinks it's blurry. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and do the largest side first. That's 4 3/4. Four and 3/4. And we only need 3 flaps, so you can save this piece. And then you can turn, and we're going to do them at 2 7/8. That's the line just before the 3. 2 7/8. So we're going to do 3 of them. So 2 7/8 again. And 2 7/8 again. Alright, I'm going to pause now because we're going to make some lines on these, so we're ready to add them as our flip-flop. Our flip-flaps. So what we're going to do next is we're going to do a little scoring on these flaps. So let me know if that's clear and you're at where you're at. Yeah, I'll hold off. We'll finish these before I move on to the other cutting. I thought maybe I would have you cut all those pieces. Let me just get a couple of more people saying that they're okay with where we're at. Cheers, everybody. Okay. Now, on these, you can't really see this part. Let me bring it up. We're going to do these score marks right here. So these 2 score marks on either side are 5/8 of an inch. This larger score mark on one long side is 3/4 of an inch. And then these 2 little short ones are 5/8 of an inch. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what that's like. Put yours so that it's the long way down, and the first thing we're going to do is do 3/4 of an inch. Okay, 3/4 of an inch on mine has a dot right there. 1/4, 2/4 or a half, 3/4 right there. Okay. We're going to take that 3/4, we're going to go all the way across. And then we're going to turn it to the short side here. And we're going to do 5/8, which we're just going to count over 5/8. And then we're going to turn it around and do 5/8 on the other side. So now you should have something that looks like this. The 3/4 is right here, and then the 5/8 is on either side. Did I do this one wrong? This one looks different to me. 5/8. I think I went over 1 extra. I did the 3/4 instead of the 5/8. That's okay. I'll show you another one real quick. 3/4 on this side, and then when we flip to the other side, we'll do 5/8, and then the other side 5/8. So it should look just like that. Okay? And you're going to do all of them the same way. But let me go back to the one, let me use this one because it's clear. Now on the end where there's no score line up here, we're going to put that side against the edge here. And we're going to score at 5/8 just to that other score line. We're going to stop right there. Just to that score line right there, 5/8. Boom. And then we're just going to flip this. And we're going to do another 5/8 right here, just to the score line. That's it. And stop. So your piece should look like this now. There's a score line on either side, and the 3/4 is still down at the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that with this one. I'm going to go ahead and put my 3/4 is on the right. I'm going to go ahead and put my 5/8 score here. Right? I'm only going to go to the very first line because I made a mistake there. So just the first line, and then flip that over, and then do 5/8 again. There's 5/8, and we're just going to go down just to that line. That's it. Just that one. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and go through another one with you, all of the whole cycle. So you put it on the long way first and do 3/4 of an inch right there. Okay, and then turn it and do 5/8. And then I turn it to the other side and do 5/8 until you have the 3/4 on one side and the 5/8 on the other sides. And then put your 3/4 to the right and do your 5/8 just down to that first score line. Just down to there, and then flip that over and do your next one 5/8 just to that next little score line right there. And at that point you should have 3 cards that look the same. Now at this point, if you want to burnish and flip flap and put down all these, you can. I never saw how it made a huge difference, but just because I made the mistake on this one, I want to make sure to just at least do this one right here, because my flap got a little bit wonky. So it's totally up to you. You can do that if you want. Okay, and the next thing we're going to do, so we got our flip-flops ready. Those are our flip-flops. We're going to move that one out of the way because we don't need that one. We're going to do some cutting on those next. Pardon me, I have an itch on my ankle. All right, this is what they're going to look like when we're done cutting them. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is that every single side that has this 3/4 of an inch right here, here's a better look at that. Every side that has the 3/4 of an inch, we're going to cut out that center rectangle right there. And then the bottom 2 sides, we're going to cut out a little triangle on each side. That's the best picture I have right there. That's what we're going to do. Okay? So I'm going to get out my other pair of scissors here. So there's only one side on the long side where it goes all the way across. That's the piece we're going to cut out, but we're only cutting to the corner here. We're not cutting this flap off. Leave that flap there. And then we're going to cut all the way down the side to the end here. Okay, and then we're going to cut that rectangle off. See? Just like that. And then put those two little flaps at the top and cut up on the other two tiny flaps and then cut in a little bit, just like that. Up the line, okay, and then cut in just a little bit, like a little triangle. You should have a piece like that. Okay, let's do the next one. They should all turn out the same. So go ahead and cut off that middle largest rectangle. Okay, put those flaps going straight up and then cut the tiny flaps on the bottom up and in a triangle. And then on the other side, up. And the triangle should be going to the outside. Okay, that's two. We have one more. And I'm going to make sure I cut off the right one on mine because I cut it wonky. So go ahead and cut those. And then cut that rectangle all the way off to the end. Put those little flaps up and then cut the other flaps on the bottom up and then in a little triangle. And then the one on the other side, cut up and in a triangle. And that's the third one. And I usually leave this here because then I can take all these pieces and dump them in the garbage and I don't have to chase them. We are almost done. So we've got about 15 minutes left. Cut flaps. Yep, we did that. What is wrong with me today? I can't keep this straight. Okay, last thing. 6 pieces that are going to cover your flip flaps. Now, on this one, I cut 3 blue ones. They have like a little bit of a pattern on them. And on the inside, I cut 3 for pink. This is one you have to kind of like just stop and think, how do I want mine to look? So on this one, I decided to make my top ones like an olive green. And then my inside's a light blue. So that's totally up to you, whatever you want to put on your flip flaps. We're going to cut 6 pieces of those. I think since I have all of that color, I'm going to see if I can get 6 out of this. I don't think I can. 3 3/8 by 2 inches. I'm just going to see if I can get that out of this. 3 3/8. No, it's only going to go, I'm only going to get 4. 3 3/8. What about 2? 2 4 6. That might work. Okay, I'm going to cut mine at 2. 2 4 6. Nope, I'm still not. I'm still only going to get 4. I'll get 4 out of this. Do I have enough of this other one? Did I get 2? Oh no, that's my thick piece. I might have to choose another color. I don't have another tan over here. I used it all up. So I guess I'm going to go with another olive green because that way I can do flowers and stuff. Alright, so 3 3/8 by 2. So I always like to do the biggest one first. Since I know I can get 3 3/8 twice this way and I don't want to waste in case I use it later, I'm going to go ahead for my 3 3/8 here and cut this way. And then for 2 inches, I know I'm going to get a lot from this way. So let's see how many I got here. Let's see. I should get 5, right? If it's 10.5 or 11.5, let's go. 2, 2, 2, I should get 1 more. And 2. And I'm going to save this in case I want to use that for decorating later. So I got 5, I just need 1 more. So I'm going to go ahead and take that piece that I had left over. And I'm going to go ahead and just do my 2 first because I know it's long enough. So I can have a big piece left over because I'm going to have to cut some stuff later. And then do my 3 3/8 on this side. 3 3/8. Oh, I think I did 3 7/8 on accident. Sorry, guys. 3, 1, 2, 3. I think I did. I gotta cut mine down to 3 3/8. Does kind of look like a 7. 3 3/8. Cut a little bit more off, guys. 3, 1, 2, 3/8. That looks good. I'm just gonna cut mine until it cuts all of them through. 1 more. Okay, if I can't get them all, then I'm going to use my scissors. You can do yours however you want. Sorry about that. I did 7/8, so you want 3 3/8. Here's how you're going to know if we did this right or not. Right? Too long. Better too long than too short. You're just going to test it out by setting it right in here, and it should give you a little white edge around the whole thing. That's how you know. And then they're all going to just get glued right onto there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead while you guys are still cutting maybe and glue mine down. How much time do we have? I would have liked to have roughed up my edges, but since we don't have a lot of time left, I'm just going to go ahead and glue these down. Now, if you're using a different color on the back side, line yours up like this, so that all your little triangles are facing to the right, and all your big flaps are facing to the left. This is top. Okay, this is top. I'm gonna glue down all my tops. Because then you have to decide which direction you're going to go. Do you want your flip-flaps? Are you going to go up and down like I did on my first one, or are you going to do side to side like I did on my second one? In case you're not sure. So this was my top, and this was my bottom. Okay? And on this one, I'm going to do one that's this way. This is my top, and that's my bottom, the back side. So do you see what I mean? Like all these are going to flip over that way. Just like that. And the back side's going to be this side. So what you're going to want to do is flip them to the left. To the left. To the left. Especially if you have things on there already. If you've already glued and embellished and stuff. You want to make sure you keep these in order so you know which way they go and when you glue them back in. Some things you can glue on and it'll be just fine. You don't have to worry about it when it's already put together. And some things you're going to find that it might just be easier to put it all together and then glue it on. I think it'll come to you once we get it all kind of put on here. A lot of this stuff is flat and can be put on after the whole card is built, which is all we're getting done today, guys. We're just getting how to make this so that you can create whatever kind of a card you want to create. We're doing the base work. So this is the back. Okay, so when we flip them back over to the right, and to the right, this is the front. So now we're going to glue this in. Top always goes on last, so we're going to take the bottom piece. Remember the little rectangle we drew in? We need that as a guide now. First thing we're going to do is take the one from the left. We're going to line it up with your top and your bottom and your left line that you made when you traced your thing. They're going to hang off a little bit. That's okay. We're going to cut that off. That's not a big deal. The only thing you're going to glue here are your 2 tabs on this side. These 2 tabs. That's it. Those 2 little hands are going to grip on there. I'm going to go ahead and put a little glue on each side. You can use whatever kind of glue you want. I'm just going to use wet glue. In case I make a boo-boo, I can slide it into place right away. This is lined up with the line. All right. And I'm going to double check. Is it hanging over? It is. So I'm just going to chop off those 2 little pieces. All right. And we're going left to right. This next one, and actually I'm going to do it the way I like to do it. You can do it left to right, but here's a tip from me. Do the ones on the ends first. Line the next one up with that other line. Okay? And make sure, you know, top and bottom so that everything's flush. Hold on to the center and put the flaps up, and I'll show you why I'm doing this one first. Again, the only thing you're going to glue down are these 2 little rectangular flaps. That's it. Just those 2. Right there. If anything hangs off the edges, you just go ahead and cut it off. Not a big deal. Now, the reason why I did those 2 is because then, if you're like me and you want it to be semi-perfect, you can slide this underneath this guy, and you can take this flap and you can move it back and forth to make sure that these 2 little spaces are the same width. So if I decide I want to put mine right there, you see that my spaces are even. If I slip and I put it there, too much space here. So you can line it up, go top to bottom so they're flush, and then slide it back and forth until you get those spaces as even as you want them to be. Okay, and then when that's down, just lift this flap up and your 2 little flappies here while you're holding it with your other hand. Okay, and then put glue on those 2 little tabs. And then glue those tabs down. No, I think I went a little bit off the edge. It'll still work. Mine's going to be just a little off. You won't notice it though. Okay, so you should have 3 flaps that move independently at this point, because we only glued them down on one side. Now the next thing we're going to do is just flip over these other little flaps. There should be 6, 2 on each side, 3 flaps. This one you have to do, and this is, I would recommend wet glue so you can shimmy it around if you need to. Don't use anything that sticks immediately because you might get frustrated if your card doesn't turn out exactly and you spent all this time. So I'm going to use wet glue, and I'm going to go ahead because now we're going to put the top on. Are you ready? This is all coming together. It's so cool. This card is just so much fun. I made 2 of them when I first learned how. This is my 3rd one. I'm probably going to be making more. So there we got it. I'm going to go ahead and just squiggle this around to make sure that it's matching all my edges. Do you see how there's white hanging out? That can be cut off. Just want everything to be as flush as it can be, and then push down on those tabs so they have a chance to adhere. Okay, and you want to make sure they have a nice chance to adhere so that when we try out our flip flap to make sure it works, that we're not taking off any of that glue. All right, and now we're going to give it a try. Look at that. One of mine is catching because of the extra little part right here. Do you see? where the what do you call it, mark is. So if you want, you can go ahead and cut a little bit off of there. Where you make the what do you call it? What's my problem? Score. Where you're scoring. If you didn't go outside that score mark, it may catch a little. Look at that. So I could cut a little off my top too. I think I'll do that right away. Just cut just inside that little score line and pull that little piece off. There we go. Ah. Jen, can you make me a blank one so I can give it to Jean? You want to give it to him blank, or do you want to decorate it when I get there? I can save you this one. Do you just not want me to not decorate this one? Okay, so we have to end so I can do the patron sale at 6. Perfect timing. So here is the one that we made today. Going this way, but you can also go this way, which is what I did with this one. So you really have to kind of design and plan which way you want it to go. And now here's a tip. If you want to write on here, or you want to glue a little tab under here that says pull, then you'll know that this side is the side that you pull. Okay? And you could put a little thing right here, a little tab right here that sticks out that says hold. Then they would know to hold that. And they would see the little thing there, and they would know to pull that. And so it would open just fine for them. I didn't get that far in the creation with you because we only had enough time to get through how to make the base. But I cannot wait to see what you guys do with this. Yay, I can't wait to see all the different kinds of things that you do with this. Go ahead and upload them anywhere on the wall in the group, the community group in Facebook called Quality Crafts. I would love to see what you guys have come up with, because this is a super unique card and everyone's going to be totally different and a totally different theme. So fun. I hope you liked my cheat sheets. I usually don't show you my cheat sheets, but then I thought, why not? That's how many cheat sheets it took me to get to the end of the card. I think now I probably would be able to do most of it without even looking at it, because I've just done so many of them. But yeah, super fun card. I do want to hear from you. The public sale now is going to be tomorrow again from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. like usual. And if you share everything, if you share the video while we're live tomorrow so we can get new people coming in, your name will be thrown into the giveaway prize. So we'll do a drawing of that probably on Sunday morning and put it in the group. Now, so there are still some people that aren't getting the information they need, so I can't stress it enough. Make sure that you're joining the Facebook group. It's commitment free. There's nothing required of you once you get in the group. It's drama free. We've got tons of wonderful people in there that are inspirational, friendly, will help you, get your way around. The links to all the things Quality Crafts, of course, is on qualitycrafts.com. And we would love for those of you guys who are thumbsing up everything and enjoying the community to join us on the Patreon, become a qualified family member and go into that private group. You guys are the ones that help me stay in business, stay here full time, make sure that all this free and fun content is available to everyone. And you get perks. There are lots of perks for that too, so don't forget. So tonight is the patron sale only from 6 to 7 in their private group. And tomorrow's the public sale from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Remember, Central Standard Time. And I can't wait to see you guys next video.